Setting your e-mountain bike up for those winter rides is going to make a huge difference. The rides will become a lot more enjoyable, your parts will last longer, and your bike will perform better too. Here's a few of our favourites. So one item you may notice wearing out a little bit more over those winter months is going to be your brake pads. This is because of nature's grinding pace, getting all over those rotors and getting onto your brake pads. Now a lot of brakes have organic pads fitted to them. Now these are quite soft, so will wear quite quickly over the winter months. So I suggest sticking a set of sintered pads into your brakes. That way they're going to last a lot longer. So sintered pads are a lot harder compound than the organic pad. They also have metal filings in there, meaning they're a lot tougher when it comes to those winter conditions. An organic pad is great at delivering that first initial bite, but when the winter comes, sintered pad is going to outlast organic by a long time. Your e-mountain bike's paintwork and components can take an absolute hammering over those winter months. A brand new e-bike can look about 3 years old after just one winter. This is because you've got all that contact with your shoes and your trousers rubbing against all that lovely shiny new paintwork. So it's a great idea to protect it with something like this heli tape, which is a clear, thick tape, which is going to protect your paintwork from all that bits where your body is going to rub against the bike. You can actually get fully custom kits that are going to go all over your bike from the likes of Invisiframe and things like that, just to give your bike that ultimate protection. I got a nice little hack for your crank arms, particularly if you've got black crank arms over the winter months, because they can become quite polished where your feet rub against them. Now the hack is to fit a piece of road bike inner tube over your crank arm segment, then put your pedal back on. That way it's going to be protected against where your foot rubs against the crank and all that mud and horrible winter conditions. Now punctures definitely aren't fun, even at the best of times, but if you get one in winter, your fingers are numb and the tyres all covered in mud, that certainly isn't fun in my book. So keeping on top of your tubeless top up is definitely key in those winter months. A lot of riders think that you fit and forget a tubeless setup, but it actually requires a top up every few months. Now this is gonna differ as to where you live in the world and the temperatures that you ride in, but just make sure you've actually got some sealant in your tyres before you head out for those winter rides, because it does dry out. If you've got no sealant, you've got no protection. And don't forget to stick a spare inner tube in your bag, because as I mentioned before in many videos, that a tubeless tyre can still get punctures. So put a tube in your bag and you know you're going to get home from every ride. Using the correct lube on your chain is going to make a massive difference over those winter months, those wet and sloppy rides, particularly on your drivetrain. If you're using dry lube on there, which is a definite no-no over those winter months, it means that lube's going to evaporate super quick. It's also going to get washed off really easy that first time you get a bit of rain or hit a puddle. If you put wet lube on your chain, it really penetrates deep into those rollers and really clings onto the chain, meaning it isn't going to get washed off for those super wet rides. Now front mudguard is going to make a massive difference, particularly if your trails look just like this, a mud fest. Now a mudguard is going to protect you from all that spray off of your front wheel, protects your face and it protects your bike too, so you're not going to get half as much mud over you or your bike. Now there's a few options for fitment for the front of these mudguards. They fit under the fork arch, you can get mini style flaps, or you can get full on mudguards like this that are pretty much off of a motocross bike. Now these fit again under the fork arch, but offer a really good protection from all that mud. You can get mudguards from the rear, you can get short versions which are going to protect the bike more than you, or you can get big ones that go right the way over the back wheel and going to protect you from all that spray off of the back wheel. But they can be quite big and quite cumbersome for those bigger rear mudguards. A front one is a definite must for winter. Now one thing I like to switch up from my summer riding to my winter riding is going from a drink bottle to a backpack with a bladder in it. The reason for this is that your bottle can get absolutely hammered from all that spray and debris from the front wheel, covering your bottle and the mouthpiece, meaning there could be all sorts of bacteria and nasty stuff that you're going to be ingesting. So get rid of that and run the backpack with the bladder. That way you know you're going to be protected and that mouthpiece is going to be pretty clean, particularly if you've got a cover on, just like this Evoc bag. It's going to keep it nice and clean and keep you safe. A water dispersing spray like this one from Muck-Off is great to use before and after a ride. If you use it before a ride, it's going to create a bit of a barrier over all those electrical components to stop water creeping in. And you can also spray it on areas like the down tube to stop the mud building up, and therefore the bike isn't going to be as heavy or as dirty after that ride. And once you've washed it, it's great to get in the habit of getting in just where that water could sit on the bike and you can't actually see it. It's just going to drive all that moisture out, meaning the e-bike's going to be protected and no corrosion is going to happen. So there you go, a few tips to help set your bike up for those winter rides. Hopefully it's going to make those rides a little bit more bearable, your bike's going to perform a bit better, or maybe last a little bit longer for some of those components. But if you've left anything, don't forget to get involved down in the comments box down below. Love to hear from you guys. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to us here on EMBN, and make sure you give us a find and a follow on social media too. Cheers for watching.